Hi guys, welcome back to the Chronic Chronicles. I'm your host, Lexy Halloran, and today we have a different setup. Obviously, I really hope that my microphone sounds okay because I'm holding it today. It's not just sitting, so I hope we don't get like static and stuff. But welcome back to the Chronic Chronicles. I'm your host, Lexy Halloran. If you're new today, today's episode is a little bit different. It's just me, it's a solo episode, and we're catching up after a really big, fun trip this past weekend. I am in my bed today, if you can't tell. I am in an endo flare. But I really wanted to record this episode. I'm in an endo flare, but I really wanted to record this episode for you guys anyways because I didn't want to wait too long after my trip to give you guys the recap of it. So here I am. Welcome to my bed. We're in bed together. We're so close. Anyways, full transparency. We're in an endo flare today. I'm not feeling the best, but I wanted to chat with you guys. I wanted to yap. So here we are. So I just got back. Today's Tuesday. I got back Sunday night from a trip to Washington, D.C. That was my first time ever visiting D.C. to the capital. And I went on behalf of Some Days to run their period pain simulator at the American Medical Students Association National Convention. Let's just say it brought up a lot more than I expected. Plus, I've got some exciting news about season two. So, next week's episode will be the last episode of season one. We'll be ending 1 year of the Chronic Chronicles podcast, and next week will be our 52nd episode. And I was like, okay, we did 52 episodes. It's been a year. This is a perfect, like, transition period to go right into season two. We're not going to be taking any break or anything like that. I'm just going to rebrand a little bit, do a new like cover photo, and go into season two. So I'm really excited about that. Also, to celebrate 1 year of the Chronic Chronicles, I'm planning a giveaway that you're not going to want to miss. And also on this episode, I'm going to be opening up about how this trip brought back some very real feelings about endometriosis and my decision not to pursue medical school anymore. So yeah, it'll be an interesting episode today. So first things first, I just got back from Washington D.C., where I was representing Some Days at the American Medical Student Association conference, and let me tell you, it was powerful. That was such a cool experience. I'm so grateful that I got to go be a part of all of that and run the period pain simulator. It was kind of like a pinch me moment in a lot of ways, but it was a really cool experience. We brought the period pain simulator, and if you've never heard of it, it's this like empathy driven tool that mimics period cramps using a low frequency muscle stimulator. So it's kind of similar to a TENS machine, but like way deeper. It's not surface level. So it doesn't just like buzz on the surface with like vibration. It gets down deep into those core muscles where real period pain lives. And like today, I'm having an endo flare and it feels like my uterus is heavy. Like it feels like my uterus wants to fall out of me. So yeah, the period pain simulator gets really deep, like the deepness that I'm feeling right now. And we had med students, we had pre-med students, future doctors. We also had some physicians all lining up to try it, which was really cool. Like we had a literal line of people pretty much all day for both days of the conference. And I guided them through all of the levels 1 through 10. So if you haven't had a chance to try the Some Days Period Pain Simulator, I'll kind of like walk you through like some of the levels really quick. By level like 8, 9, and 10, it only goes up to level 10. So like level 8, 9, and 10, that's the kind of pain that people with endometriosis experience, and maybe people with PCOS live with every single month. And for some of us, that's our baseline. So I think that like people were getting up to like a level 8, 9, 10, and that is more similar to like the deep pain that people with endometriosis experience. So that was really interesting getting to like talk to these future physicians about like how they're feeling during it. Do you think, like, I was asking them questions like, do you think you could sit through an exam? Do you think you could go to class like this and retain information? Because, like, in your medical school classes, you actually have to be able to focus on what's going on and retain that information. Do you think you could go through a 12-hour shift in the ER at a level 6? Like, and every single person said no. So that, yeah, it's hard. Um, Oh, and like here's the thing, people can tap out whenever they want to. Like you literally just pull the plug and it immediately stops the pain. And there was no shame stopping at like 4 or a 7. And we reminded everyone constantly that like pain is subjective. This wasn't about being tough or showing off or being in competition. It was about understanding period pain so that you can be a better doctor, so that you can be a better advocate for your patients, so that you can be a better partner to, or a friend or a family member to somebody who experiences period pain or painful periods or endometriosis. And it was about raising awareness for these types of things. So I really tried to like remind these people that it wasn't like a competition about like who can get farther or who can like um just like tense through the pain, because anybody can like tense through really pain, like anybody can tense through pain for like 5 minutes. But that's not the point of this, right? Like the point is to understand and get like a new perspective on period pain. So that was really interesting. Some people just like tried to laugh through it, and some people cursed. Some people were just like tensing through it and like really jumpy and fidgety. I really tried to like have conversations with people through it and try to remind them that like you're like tensing up and cussing and not being able to have a conversation through it, and like trying to remind them that like this is what some women go through. This is like what I go through with endometriosis. Like this is my lived experience. Try like having to like go to work and have a conversation through a really painful time. Like even right now, I'm recording this podcast and I would say I'm at like a level 6 right now. Like I'm having cramps as we're speaking and I'm able to record this. Like that's so crazy. So trying to like remind them to give them a perspective shift. Yeah, it was a really interesting weekend. One guy just kept whispering to me, like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry that you go through this. And honestly, that right there, that was so nice to hear. That is why I do this, right? Like, that was such, yes, like, you understand, you're getting the perspective change. For far too long, period pain, and especially chronic period pain, has just been dismissed, minimized, or completely ignored. We're told that it's normal. We're told to just push through it. We're told to go on a walk, to take ibuprofen, that we have a low pain tolerance and that this is normal. And medical professionals aren't always trained to take it seriously. So seeing future healthcare providers actually feel that pain in their own body, even for just a few seconds, that's how we change the culture. That's how we provide a better healthcare system for the future, for our daughters. Like, that is how we do this. Millions of people with endometriosis or adenomyosis or PCOS or other pelvic conditions live at a 10. They live at a 9. They live at an 8. And they still go to work. They go to school. They parent their children. They try to function in a world that doesn't accommodate or even believe them. This wasn't just a fun booth at a conference, although it was fun at certain points, right? It was real. And for me personally, it brought up a lot. I'll talk more later in this episode about how it made me reflect on the decision not to pursue medical school anymore and how endo played a really, really big role in that. But for now, I just want to say thank you to everyone who stepped into the simulator with open minds and open hearts. And to some days, thank you so much for sending me, for one, and for two, making something that turns pain into purpose. You're doing amazing things, and I couldn't be more proud and humbled to be even a small part of this experience. I'm so excited to say that season 2 of the Chronic Chronicles is officially launching May 7th. May 7th will be our first episode of season 2. It's going to be a solo episode. And we've got some really incredible guests lined up, from experts to advocates to everyday warriors living with chronic conditions. The conversations this next season are going to be raw, going to be science-backed, and full of heart, full of knowledge. Whether you're navigating your own diagnosis or you're supporting somebody that you love, or maybe you're just curious about the invisible battles that people face, this season is for you. I'm trying to get like more comfortable because we've got the cramps and they're chilling. They're just staying here. So I feel like maybe sitting up is going to help a little bit more. Okay. Also, to celebrate, I kind of already launched this a little bit earlier in the episode, but to celebrate the new season, we're doing a giveaway. So it's going to be a giveaway basket with some of my favorite Spoonie friendly brands and a lot of products that like I use on a daily basis, or products that I have done giveaways with in the past. Think products that help during a flare, that make you feel seen, supported, and maybe even a little pampered. Details will be on Instagram, so make sure you're following at Chronic Chronicles Pod. And of course, hit follow or subscribe on whatever podcast app you're listening to so that you don't miss our first episode on May 7th. I can't wait for you to hear what's coming. It's going to be so good. Even just in general, this past year has been so amazing. Like, I'm so incredibly grateful for this community. I'm so grateful for the experiences and like community events that I've been able to plan, the learning that I've been a part of, and the people that I've met this year. I had no idea what I was doing when I was starting a podcast and starting this community, and this is everything I could have wanted and more, and I'm just so incredibly grateful for every single one of you that have been along for this ride. So thank you so much for a really amazing year 1 and season 1 of the Chronic Chronicles podcast. I cannot wait to see what we do together next year. So stay along for the ride, guys. Keep them coming. Okay, let's rewind a little because this DC trip was so much fun. It was a whirlwind in the best way, but it also brought up a lot of behind the scenes feelings that I want to share with you. Like I said, I was there on behalf of Some Days running their period pain simulator at the AMSA conference, which was incredibly powerful, emotional, and even a little bit surreal. But beyond the conference, I also had to navigate something a lot of us face, which is traveling with a chronic illness. If you know, you know. It's not just packing clothes, it's packing medications, heating pads, compression socks, supplements, snacks that aren't going to trigger you because the airport is a walking death trap, and backup plans for your backup plans in case that you can't make it to what you actually wanted to do. So then trying to figure out something that is a little bit more like friendly for what you're going through, and then having a backup plan for that backup plan. Some of my lifesavers on this trip included, obviously, my Some Days cramp cream. I literally used it daily to function after standing all day. Let me tell you, my feet and my lower back pain were insane this whole trip. I think working from home for the past, like, I've worked from home since like September. I forgot what it's like to stand all day long and talk to people all day long. We did over 100 period pain simulations over 2 days. That is a lot of conversation. And I would say I'm pretty extroverted. Like, I love talking to people. Don't get me wrong. I had such an amazing time. It was so fun talking to all these people, but I was also really freaking tired. Yeah, the Some Days cramp cream, my savior. My savior. Ooh, I'm adjusting my heating pad. Absolute lifesaver. I was rubbing that shit everywhere. Like on my feet, on my back, on my abdomen, everywhere. I smelled like Some Days cramp cream the entire weekend, which is not a bad smell, but it's a smell, you know? Zofran is my best friend. My nausea has been getting worse and worse and worse. I swear. Like this past year, I've been nauseous almost every day. Flights are so triggering for my nausea recently, and there was like no time to like recover after the flight. And then we were like taking the metro a lot. Zofran was my best friend this trip, truly. I also was, trying to enjoy my trip. So I just pretended like I don't have a chronic illness, which I don't suggest doing on a trip, but like I really just wanted to enjoy it. So we were drinking and eating whatever I wanted to, like drinking alcohol. So Zofran the next morning was needed for sure. I also brought my period aisle underwear, which I absolutely love. I wear the everyday boxer to sleep. That's like my favorite sleep boxer underwear short. So I wore those to sleep, but also they're amazing because they're bloat friendly and they catch like any leakage from my Octavia suppositories. I also used the Octavia suppositories at night to just like kind of try to recover from the day, which was amazing. And then last but not least, I brought my Pure Spectrum CBD Solve, the Recover Ice. Absolutely love the Recover Ice. I put some in like a little travel size container and brought that with me, and then would kind of like alternate where I was putting that versus the Some Days Cramp Cream. And yeah, like just used them both basically. And then of course I brought my heating pad. So I had my plug-in heating pad and I brought spicy like heating pad patches to wear while I'm walking around. But I'm not gonna lie, it was hot in Washington, D.C. I've lived like everywhere. I lived in Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, other places. So I don't know why in my brain I know where Washington D.C. is on a map. I know that it's Virginia basically, but in my brain I didn't correlate that to like muggy, like hot and muggy. Um I like thought it would be kind of like chilly. I mean, I looked at the weather. I knew it was going to be 85 degrees, but and I like I packed accordingly. I just didn't know it was going to be so like swampy and muggy and bugs. Oh, holy shit, there were bugs everywhere. Like gnats. Eye level with me and I was like they were getting in my mouth. Like my friend Michaela that went with me, we like couldn't talk when we were walking outside because there were bugs getting in my mouth. So, that being said, I did wear the spicy heat patches like during the conference, but I did not wear them outside because I was going to overheat. I was so hot. Anyways, but I also brought my plug-in heating pad that I'm wearing right now on my back because I sleep with that thing every night. I love it. Those were my lifesavers on the trip. Absolutely love those things. There were moments that I really had to listen to my body. Like I rested in between sessions when I had time. We had a chair that I could sit in between people. Like if people were putting on their stickers or if I wasn't like actively talking to people, I would sit down, even if it was for like 30 seconds to just like sit for a moment. And I also reminded myself that like, yes, we are here advocating for others, but that also starts with taking care of myself. I thought that I would be able to just like rally after the conference and go like straight, like hurry up, go change, and then go straight out into DC to explore. That was not the case. I don't know who I thought I was. We definitely needed to like rest for like an hour or two before going out to dinner every night and like take a nap, which is totally reasonable. I don't know why I thought that I could just do that. I've never been able to do that. Um, but I thought I would have like enough adrenaline. No, I was like exhausted. I don't know. Traveling with a chronic condition is never easy, but it is possible when you're prepared and you give yourself grace. And honestly, I'm proud of how I showed up, not just for the cause, but for myself. And thankfully, like shout out Michaela, my friend that went with me. She was very like checking in on me a lot to make sure that I was okay, which was very appreciated. I was tired. I was a tired girl, but I had so much fun. Like my voice sounds kind of raspy and like low right now. One, because I'm in an endo flare, so I am in pain and tired, but two, because I was talking so much and like loving what I was doing that like my voice is sore and raspy. So sorry. I just had such a good time. Like So fun. So incredibly grateful. And Washington, D.C. is so cute. We did get to see, if you follow me on TikTok, it's just at Lexy Halloran, or the Instagram is at Chronic Chronicles Pod. I was doing vlogs every day. So I did like day one, day two, day three, day four, just short, like 2 minute to 3 minute vlogs of the whole day. And those are on TikTok and Instagram. So if you want to see what our days were like, you can go look at them there. It was really fun. We did get to explore DC a little bit. We had some really good food, really good dinners. I also have a friend that lives in DC that we met up with for dinner Friday night, so that was a lot of fun. And then Saturday night, we met up with Spicy, Hannah, and Stephanie from Spicy. So that was a really good time. And when we were at dinner with them, we saw Bill Nye. What? I got to meet Bill Nye, the science guy? Are you fucking kidding me? Sorry, freaking kidding me? What? That was so cool. That like I have met celebrities before and I'm like, "Oh my God, like that's really cool." I was fangirling over Bill Nye. Like it was hard for me to keep my composure at this restaurant, and we were at like a really fancy restaurant, and I was like, "Holy shit, I can't squeal right now." But we were in like eyesight with him, and we just kept like looking at each other and like smiling, and I'm like, "Oh my God, stop, Lexi." But that was a really cool experience to see Bill Nye. Sorry, my cat is walking. Bella, come here. Bella is here now for emotional support. But that was insane to see Bill Nye and meet Bill Nye because what? My childhood hero. Like, what the fuck? And then when he went to the bathroom before we took our picture, like he had to go to the bathroom, and I like was standing with his wife for like 5 minutes and word vomiting to his wife. I'm like, oh my God, wait, I'm Lexi. I'm here for endometriosis awareness and I do science. Like, who? Oh my God, how embarrassing am I? Like, what? Anyways, that was really cool. So overall, DC, amazing. Was a really good trip. Oh, and then on the last day before we went on the flight, we did like walk and bike ride the like mall area where like all the monuments are and like the Smithsonian museums and stuff. So we got to see a lot of that like quickly. We only had like 3 hours, which is a very short amount of time for like how large that area is. So we only got to we went to the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, which was really, really cool. So we got to see a little bit of that for like a, I don't know, I think we were in there for like 30 minutes. So it was a very like quick run through. But I would love to go back to DC at a different time and actually like explore and go see a lot of the museums and be like just really immerse myself in that. But overall, amazing trip. So, going back to just kind of some feelings that came up at this conference, I know I've talked on the podcast before about like I don't remember like how much I've spoken about medical school and kind of like what I wanted in life, I guess. So, for some context, I have a bachelor's in human biology. I probably like my second, maybe like end of first year of college, second year of college time, I decided that I wanted to go to medical school, that I wanted to be like in the healthcare space. Before that, I wanted to do like marine biology and I wanted to study sharks. Hee hee. I still love sharks. Sharks are my favorite animals, but I've always been drawn to the medical field. My mom is a respiratory therapist. I obviously have chronic illnesses. I spent a lot of time in hospitals and doctors growing up. And my little brother was 2 pounds, 4 ounces when he was born. And we spent like 3 months in the Ronald McDonald house, like while he was in the NICU. And that was when I was 8 years old. So from like a very young age, I just felt very pulled towards medicine. So like freshman, sophomore year, I was like, okay, actually, I think I want to be a doctor. And that was also in the height of like my chronic illness. Like that was around the time where like I really started pushing that like something was wrong with me. And by junior year is when I got diagnosed, like when I was 19, 20. That's when I got diagnosed with endo. And at that point, I was like fully like, yes, I want to be a doctor. And I wanted to I was kind of on the fence between like wanting to be a neonatal pediatrician. So for like preemie babies, that was like based off of my brothers being premature. And then also between like wanting to be like a primary care doctor to really like invest into chronic illness or like something along the lines of like wanting to be like an endometriosis specialist. I don't really know like where I would have gone. I think now if I would have actually went to medical school, I think I definitely would have went more towards like women's health route and like an endo specialist type situation. So I started really going down the medical path like my sophomore year of college. And I did all of the things, right? I My degree was in human biology. I started working at a hospital my I think my junior year or sophomore year, junior, whatever, sophomore year, junior year. My college experience was interesting, which we can get into in a different episode. But I there was a lot of things going on in the background outside of chronic illness as well. I had a lot of things happen in my childhood that um, I just was dealt a hand, I should say. I was dealt a hand, okay? Um, so I had a lot of things that were going on in the background. I had to work, to pay for life, and I had help, but not a lot. Sorry, I don't really know how to like talk about that stuff because I don't want to like hurt anyone in that aspect, but I just had a lot of things that like I had to work through and I had to do them basically alone. Um, that made college harder for me, plus endometriosis and chronic pain. Um, but I really wanted to be a doctor, and that was a really hard path to go on. So I I thought that I could like prove it to myself that that was something that I could do, and I still like I was really invested and really passionate about it, and I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. And I really like thought back on like me, like my life, my like in the chronic illness world, and like how I wasn't listened to, and um just like I was misdiagnosed with things like and I wanted it to be better. And I thought that I could do that. And I still think I could. Like, that we'll get into that. But, like, that's why I wanted to go to medical school. I started working as a dialysis technician, and I did that for 3.5, 4 years. I was in undergrad for like 5 years. Most of my undergrad experience, I was a dialysis technician. And I loved doing that. I loved working in like the chronic health space of dialysis, like kidney failure. I loved the relationships that I made with my patients. I really enjoyed like working 12-hour shifts was so like I don't know, I just felt like that's like what I wanted. I loved working in the hospital. I loved everything about it. My body didn't. I had a really, really hard time. I had a lot of endo flares. I had a lot of nausea. There were like shifts where I would be puking in the bathroom like throughout my whole shift because I was in so much pain. But like I wanted to show up for my patients. And I got to put needles into like I was doing it. It was really interesting. I had to study for the exam to be a registered hemodialysis technician. Like it was really interesting. And I was doing that all like while I was in school. And I felt like very like this is, yeah, like medicine is it. That's what I need to be doing. So yeah, I really liked what I was doing. And then I also, for like one summer, was a scribe for our nephrologist, the kidney doctor that I worked with. And I liked like that side of it too, like learning more medical terminology. I really liked like my anatomy and physiology classes. I loved like the more once I got into like higher college, I loved like cardiopulmonary physiology. Like all of these things were just so like I just felt so like into all of that. I also did a lot of like shadowing. I shadowed like pretty much every single doctor. I went to school in a really rural area in Houghton, Michigan. So like we didn't have like we didn't have a lot of specialists, but we had a lot of like general doctors that I shadowed. I shadowed surgeries, loved watching surgeries. So then I was like, okay, yeah, like endo specialist, surgeon, like that would be really interesting. I also just felt really conflicted because I knew like how grueling of a career surgery is and how like you don't get breaks, you have to stand for a long time. And it was hard for me, like I knew I wanted to do that, but it was hard for me to envision how that would be possible with how my body was feeling on a daily basis. Like, how would I go through an endo flare and be in surgery for hours? How, like, I also have frequent urination because there's probably endo around my bladder. So I have to pee every couple of hours. How would I do that in surgery? So then I started to be like, okay, maybe not an endosurgeon, maybe a primary physician where I can like focus on endometriosis possibly, or maybe just focus on like women's health and like, or just chronic illness in general. And that still like really like lit a fire in me. I was like, okay, I still really want to do that. After like graduation the summer before I went to grad school, I worked as a medical assistant at a primary care office, and I really liked that too. I was like, okay, I could do this. It's not hospital focused, but I think that, yeah, like being a primary care physician, that might be like the right space for me because like there's a little bit more flexibility. You could work like normal 9 to 5, or you could do like 4 10s. You could also do some like telehealth. So I'm like, maybe there's a little bit more flexibility that I could do with endometriosis, like living, being a physician as somebody with endometriosis. Um, and then, I studied for the MCAT. I took the MCAT and applied to medical school for the first time at like the normal timeline. Um, and the first time I took the MCAT, it was during the height of COVID. Like literally my MCAT was scheduled for March 2020 and obviously it got canceled. So it kept getting pushed back and I had been studying for like 8 months prior to it and like taking practice exams. For anybody that doesn't know, the MCAT is like a 7 to 8 hour exam and you have to take it before like to get into medical school. It's not easy. You also don't get a calculator on it, which is crazy. I tell people that, like people that don't know, and they're like, what the fuck? You have to do math without a calculator? Yeah, you do. Okay. Anyways, so my MCAT kept getting pushed back. It was in like the height of COVID. I also was working as a dialysis technician all throughout COVID. Like we had like obviously people still have to have dialysis even if they have COVID or like during COVID. So I was working full time. I was not working like part time anymore. I was working full time during the pandemic, even like and overtime. While I was going to school, all my classes were obviously remote, like on Zoom at that point. So I would literally go into the break room and somebody would watch my patients while I would do my classes. And then I would come back in between my classes and like work. So I was exhausted, right? My MCAT kept getting pushed back. And finally, I took it, I think, in July of 2020 is when I finally got scheduled for it because that is just a really crazy time. And it was a shortened version of the exam. So I think it was 6 hours instead of 8, which I don't know if there's like research on how that affected the exam or anything, but it was interesting. So long story short, I take the exam, I go into exam day, and I'm in a full endo flare, like cramping, very like I could not get it under control. This was also before I had discovered like any of the period relief brands that I like love now. I didn't know about any of them. So I had like basically nothing, just ibuprofen. And I went into this 6 hour exam, cramping during COVID. I have a mask on. Like it was just awful. And you can't like reschedule the exam at that point. You just have to like if you don't take it, then, it looks like you just didn't take your exam. So I go in and I take the exam on a full endo flare and I was fighting for my life. It was so bad. It was so incredibly hard for me to focus. It's a timed exam. Like you only have certain amount of time per section. I remember going into the bathroom on my lunch and crying, sobbing, crying because I knew that I wasn't doing well. Like my score was going to be bad and those like stick. Like you can't, you know. There isn't I think there's an I don't really remember, but I think there's an option at the end of the exam to like not have your score be recorded. And looking back on it, I should have done that. But I was like, well, I want to know what I get and like what if I do end up like doing maybe I'm doing better than I think I am. Like I don't know. So I just had it be a recorded score, which I really regret. I wish I wouldn't have done that. But anyways, I did. So that was something that was like a full circle moment at this conference is that we had these like all of these people had taken the MCAT. We all could relate on that level. Like I had the background in that. I wasn't in medical school, but like I we all went through the exact same process to get into med school. So there were some people that would get up to a level 8 and they were like dying and I'd be like I took the MCAT on this level, like a level 8 or 9. That is what I took the MCAT on. And their faces of just like pure horror that, are you fucking kidding me? You did that? And then me being like, yeah, I don't really score that well. And they're like, how could you score that well? Like, this is insane that you took it on that. Like, this, oh my God. And I just thought that was such like a important thing for like the connection, the like light bulb moment for them, like holy fucking shit. So that was really interesting. You know, then I graduated college. I didn't get into med school that first round. I decided to go to graduate school to get my master's in bacteriology. The whole reason that I was doing that was to like help my resume for medical school to like I was going to grad school with the purpose of reapplying to medical school after and like getting really good grades in grad school and like showing them that I could do like graduate level studies and like I was going to retake my MCAT. That was also really hard. I had a really, really hard time. Grad school's not easy. I loved grad school though, but like it wasn't easy. I felt extremely burnt out in grad school. I felt like my body was completely against me and I had no control of it. I didn't feel like any of my like I had my diagnosis of endo now and I had tried some things like I tried pelvic floor physical therapy, but like I didn't feel like anything was even touching the pain. Like nothing was helping. I was having a really hard time mentally. I didn't get into med school and I just like I it was really really hard. It was a really hard time in my life. So this was like 3 years ago. So I did my first year of grad school and that whole first year I studied for the MCAT. And then I retook the MCAT oh gosh. I think like late spring. No. Yeah, like March or April of 2022. I retook my MCAT. And like that whole time was really hard. Like this point in my life for the 2 years of grad school, I put endometriosis like completely on the back burner and I just felt like I there was no way that I could like go to doctor's appointments or like figure out how to like get any symptom relief because I had so many things happening. Like I had grad school, I was teaching because I got my graduate program paid for, which was amazing, but I had to teach to get it paid for. So I was teaching. I was also like babysitting to try to get some like extra money. And I was studying for the MCAT like a lot because I needed to do better. And I ended up, so I retook it and I was just fighting for my life. I retook this time it was the full like 8-hour exam. I felt really good about it. I felt like I was doing a lot better, but I still had a lot of like brain fog because like my symptoms were not being managed at all. And then I remember coming out of the exam and sitting in my car and just having like a complete mental breakdown and being like, there is no possible way that even if I get into medical school, I can do it. Like, how? Like, there was never really a point. I mean, there were points before where I was like, is this the right decision? Like, is my body going to be able to do this? Like, can I do this? Like, can I even get in? Like, I had a lot of like self-doubt. But this was like the first time that I was like, I had just sat through this 8-hour exam and like that and I like it was a good day. Like I felt good, but I still was so fucking dead. Like my body hurt, my brain hurt, everything hurt and I just was like so exhausted and then had to like wake up the next day and like go to class and like study for exams for my grad school. And like that's like similar, not it's easier, but like similar to what it would be in med school. Like you have to still take these huge exams and then get up and do it all over again. Like there's no like break. And I just had a mental breakdown about it. I was like, I can't do this. Like mentally, I think I can. I think I could do it, but my body won't let me. I was like, I don't think there's any way that I can sit through. Like, I don't think I can do this. I think my body's gonna give out. I'm like, I was having like anxiety attacks and like, I just felt like I couldn't do anything. I was like, I don't know. Like, is this worth it? Is this like, is this do people with endometriosis like do this career path? Like, am I crazy? Like, can I just didn't know. I didn't see a way. Like, I didn't see a possibility that my body would be able to handle 4 years of nonstop studying and clinicals and being in endo pain and doctors. Like, how would I go to my doctor's appointment? How was I going to get surgeries? Like, how I just didn't see a way. I didn't see a path. And I was just so like wrecked, didn't know what to do. And then I remember like talking to my boyfriend about it and being like, I just don't know. I don't think I'm going to apply to med school now. And I think so like med school applications for anyone that doesn't know, you apply like a year before you're actually going to start. So like I was intending on starting September 2023 for this round, but you had to apply like May 2022. That's like when the things would be happening. So like this was like March, April of 2022. And I was just like, I don't think I'm going to do it. Like I don't think I'm going to apply I don't think I'm going to apply this cycle. Like I just don't know. I was like, I don't think my body can do it. I don't know. And then like obviously he was supportive of that, but he also was like, why don't you just apply? Like you already have done it. Like you already retook the MCAT and you are in grad school like to do this. He's like, just apply and see what happens. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm just having like maybe I just like am really like low self-esteem right now and I'm like maybe like I'll just apply. So I literally took out a $4,000 loan because I didn't have any money. And for anyone that doesn't know, applying to medical school is really freaking expensive. So I took out like a $4,000 personal loan to apply to med school the second time and applied to all these schools. And I didn't get in. Long story short. Um, So, and you kind of like find out, like you can find out all the way up until like right before med school starts if you like get in or not, if you're on wait lists and stuff. So there were like a couple of like lingering schools. Like I had decided that I was moving out to Seattle because I was graduating grad school at that point, and my boyfriend had moved out here. So I was like, I guess I'm just gonna move out here, and if I find out that I got into med school, then I'll go. But even at that, I was kind of like, I don't know, like I just didn't know if my body could do it. And then, like, full transparency, I honestly, I mean, I was devastated that I didn't get in. But at the same token, I was kind of relieved because I was like, I don't even know if my body could do that. Like, I also felt like I was so burnt out. I was like, I don't even know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if I can go like straight into it. Like, I need to like get my health under control. I need to like I need to find a specialist for endo. Like I am in so much pain. I was having so many flares constantly. Like I felt like everything was just so hard that I was like a little bit relieved that I didn't get into medical school because I'm like, I didn't even know. I felt like I was going to fail even if I went because I was just so in pain. I don't know. So I felt like I've it was just unexpected. I felt all of these feelings like come up going to this conference as I like walked through this like medical student space. surrounded by pre-med students, future physicians, academic posters, and medical student merch, and like all of these companies like Kaplan and UWorld and like all these companies that I have like used and I've done, it honestly hit me like a wave, like because this was supposed to be my path. Like I was supposed to be here. And because of endometriosis, it completely reshaped my life, like completely. I was planning on going to medical school. I had the passion, I had the clinical hours, I had the shadowing hours. I did all these extracurriculars. I got the degrees. I took the MCAT twice. But what I didn't have was the physical ability to keep pushing through flare after flare, pretending that I was okay. I just couldn't do it. And I feel like Endo made that decision for me in a lot of ways. And at the time, it felt like a loss, like I had failed. Like, sorry, I feel like I'm gonna cry because I still like it's only been 2 years since I got that like last med school rejection and like the decision was there, like I wasn't going. And on it's been like 2 years since I decided I wasn't going to reapply again. Um, and for people that don't know, like it is hard. It's extremely hard to get into medical school, and a lot of people apply 2 or 3 or 4 times before they get in. So like honestly, it's not abnormal to apply for a third time, but it's been like 2 years since I made that decision. But I felt like in a lot of ways it was Endo making that decision for me, and I still feel like I failed. Like full transparency. I still feel like I quit and I failed, and I feel horrible about that. Like I was letting go of a dream that I worked so hard for. Um, Sorry, I will cut out some of the crying from this episode. It's just the feelings are very recent now. Being at this conference, it felt like a full circle moment in so many ways. Like, one, I was there and I got to like interact still in the medical field, which made me feel so good because I'm like, I'm still here. I'm still doing things that I think make a difference. And I'm still doing advocacy work and I'm still fighting through it. And I'm still being in the science in some shape. I'm still here. I'm still at the American Medical Students Association conference, just on the other side of the table. I'm advocating for menstrual health. I'm sharing my lived experience. I'm running the simulator that brought people to like literal tears because they're understanding what people are going through. I realize that I'm still educating. I'm still a part of the field. I'm still showing up in the spaces that matter, and I'm still using my voice to create change, just maybe not as a medical doctor, maybe not as a provider. It might not look like what I thought it would, but maybe, just maybe, this is where I'm supposed to be. And if you're listening and you've had to grieve the life that you thought you would have, I just want you to know that you're not alone. Your path might change, but that doesn't mean that your impact is any less powerful. And my path changed, and I'm still coming to terms with what I want and um, what path I want to be on. And honestly, if I still want to be in medicine, and maybe I will apply to medical school again, maybe I will figure out a way. I don't know. It's, I've had a lot of thoughts. It's been an interesting weekend. And it's not even just this weekend. I think about this all the time, honestly. If I'm, I think a lot about like maybe I'm in a better space now and maybe I can do it, but I just don't know. It's such a hard choice to figure out what you want. If you feel like your chronic illness took away something that you really wanted, I understand so much. And I'm here to listen if you ever want to talk about it. Overall, I had a really good time. And I'm still so incredibly grateful and thankful and humbled to be in that space and to be in this space and to have the opportunity to feel the way that I'm feeling and to have the opportunity to have that like full circle moment to be in the space with providers and be in the medical space. Um, and you never know. Maybe, maybe we'll see. And at the very least, I'm helping shape the future of period health and just equity for women and women's health and raising awareness for endometriosis in spaces like medical school, which is so important. What a ride this trip has been. I'm feeling all the things: grateful, reflection, fire, purpose. And I'm so excited to carry this all into season 2. Don't forget, we've got a giveaway happening to celebrate the new season, and you can find all the details on Instagram at Chronic Chronicles Pod and to enter to win some of my favorite flare-friendly products and chronic illness must-haves. Trust me, you're going to want to know this, and I want to give it to you. And if you want to see more behind the scenes moments from the DC trip, I filmed the whole thing, literally vlogged the entire thing, from running the period pain simulator to what it's like managing chronic illness while you're traveling. The full YouTube vlog drops later this week, so keep an eye out on my channel to make sure that you're subscribed. I will be also posting like teasers on Instagram, but my YouTube is just Lexy Halloran as well. If this episode resonated with you, if you've ever had to pivot your dreams or travel with a flare or educate others through your pain, I would love for you to share it. Tag a friend, leave a quick review. It helps our little podcast reach even more warriors in this space. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you always for reminding me why this work matters. I'll talk to you soon.